few months ago, our local Corvair guru, Gary, sent out a sad email to the members of our local chapter of the National Corvair Club, also called Corsa. And in that email, he shared with us that a fellow member had recently passed away. A few hours later, I received another email from Gary telling me that Dick had left behind a shed full of spare parts and, more importantly, a '63 Spyder Convertible he was in the midst of restoring. His family had hoped that a local club member would be willing to take on the task of finishing the car, and Gary thought of me. I contacted the family and received the photos that are now up on the screen here that you've been looking at. And I asked for some more, and they were gracious enough to send me some better ones that will appear on the screen as well. After some back and forth conversation and finding out that while the car did not run, the engine did turn, I made them an offer for the car and all the parts, which they accepted. It took a couple months to get a free weekend where I could, with the help of my buddies Jonathan, Henry, and Zachary, go and try to get everything to bring back to my place. The part stash ended up being much larger than I'd expected, so I had to rent a U-Haul trailer the next day and go back and fill the trailer and my car with more stuff. I ran out of room and sadly had to leave a few power glides behind in the shed. Instead of joining the many boxes of parts that you're now looking at on the screen, the trailer full of parts went straight to the Corvair ranch. I know that if I need anything from there to finish this project, the proprietor, Jeff, will take care of me. Sorry for the quality of the video here. This was done with a different camera. It wasn't done with my phone. But this should give you a sense of the parts that we were able to get from the shed full of things. And at this point, we'd already pulled a bunch of stuff out. So we first started by filling the back of Jonathan's truck with the bins and boxes of parts. And then we moved on to getting the car loaded on his trailer. It was a cold day, and myself and my buddies, as I mentioned previously, went over to Dick's house, and we backed up Jonathan's trailer to the entry of the garage and then rolled the Spyder up and onto the trailer. And I'll just speed this up so you can see all the gyrations we went through. She doesn't have a name yet, but she is home. So no key lock portion in the front, but I used a screwdriver. So we've got Kelsey Hayes wheels. There's the spare. These are some parts that were inside the car. We've got two tonneau covers for over the convertible top. I'm going to close this now. Looks like we have an underhood lighting option. We'll have to see how that works. So this car has been painted, I'm thinking, once in its life. The guy I got it from was finishing up some body work stuff in preparation for shooting another coat. So it is a '63 Monza Spyder Convertible. So this is how nice the interior is. Hidden underneath there is probably a little sat on. I'm really hoping, and I haven't gone through all the parts, but I'm hoping that everything that came off the car came with me. That door panel could use replacing. Not a big deal. So we've got basically empty glove box. We've got the Spyder dash, nice condition steering wheel, original AM radio, door handles and stuff for that door over there. Some more stuff came off that door sitting there. That's a replacement. I think it's a single master cylinder. And the wheels are in pretty good shape. I'm losing daylight and it's cold out here, that's why I'm rushing. Interesting, a rear fender mounted antenna. I don't know if I can do this with one hand. Okay, it does turn, the engine. I've not had a battery on it. It makes me think that it's a rebuilt carburetor, but who knows how long ago it was rebuilt. There's turbo number. So I'm assuming it's a 150 compressor on a 150 turbo and not the 180. There's some Bondo, but he's done a really good job, and I'm not going to undo what he did to replace with metal. The rocker panels, from what I can tell, are in really good shape. The floor has got a few rust throughs that I'll take care of. I'm not sure why he stripped this door down. The window regulator does work. This whole side of the car was scuffed. Maybe he just scuffed it in order to find what spots needed attention. So I'm not going to change the paint color. I've loved this jewel blue. It was really nice on my wagon. I've got under hood light here. I'm not sure what signals that light to go on. Usually there's a little plunger switch. That may have been what went there. So, haven't named her yet. I bantered about the name Odette, and that was rejected by my wife, who is a much better arbiter of appropriately named things. Padded dash, very good shape. No splits in that. Very fortunate there. So I'll cover it back up, and then at some point we'll pull the plugs, lubricate the cylinders, somehow see if we can see if the turbo spins, and then put a battery in and see if the key works and the starter turns, and then go from there. Decided to come out and look and see if I can just sort of high level get an idea of how I want to attack this. First thing I did was see if the linkage is loose, and that's about all the movement I get. I think I need more than that. So this carburetor will be coming out to be at least lubricated, probably rebuilt. Maybe I'll just be able to take it apart, clean things up, put it back together. One of the things that's interesting is there's a rubber hose there. I did not think about that being the way it is. I'll have to do some more research. Maybe there's a certain pipe that needs to go there. Also, this is open. That appears to be some sort of vacuum, so we'll have to close that off. That's open. This probably goes to the air filter, air cleaner assembly. Already verified that the engine turns. There has been a alternator upgrade from the stock generator. That's good. The chrome top cover is not in that great a shape, so more than likely it will come off and get replaced with a painted one. Clean up the crossover pipe. Everything else looks to be in pretty decent shape. This welding around here doesn't look factory, but as long as it doesn't leak, we're okay. This would be, I'm gathering, yeah, oil. So this is coming right out of the oil pressure sender area. So it's receiving pressurized oil to lubricate and cool the turbocharger. So that replacement for the battery tray. I guess the other one was rusted underneath. It's still plenty functional. We'll need to replace the engine seals. It's always an interesting job. Looks like this is original. It's got staples down in there. Most people, when they go and replace these seals, will use rivets instead of staples. I'll see what I'm willing to deal with. It's like a fairly decent distributor cap. Who knows if the fuel pump is still working. At this point, an option will be to put in a electric fuel pump at the front end down by the gas tank. That's one thing I will do as well, is disconnect all of the fuel pump stuff and just run a gravity tank initially. I want to be able to get this to run before I attack the rest of it, and the rest of it being the brakes. Any of the hoses and seals are probably in pretty rough shape. They should be replaced. The fuel system, so I'll have to pull the tank, clean it out, probably coat it, just for, since it's out, may as well do that, and put it back in with new hoses, and like I mentioned, probably a electric fuel pump. And I'll go around and check the condition of the suspension, the rubber parts, the bushings, etc. Hopefully we can go with what is there. An interesting option on this one was the rear and radio antenna, and this is what's left of the coax that would have run all the way up to the radio from back here. So that's kind of a cool option. Also had the underhood light, and I'm not sure what, there should be a switch somewhere and I don't see it. Something to let the circuit know that the trunk got opened. This might have been part of it here, although that looks more like just a clip for wiring. But I'll look into that. Something to deal with. Now, the guy who passed away, and I got this from his estate, was in the process of going through and doing body work everywhere. What he's done looks to be fairly well along, if not finished. Kind of looking over here. There's some sanding to do on Bondo in here. I'm not going to go crazy. Just finishing what he started in terms of taking care of any rough spots, and then scuffing everything, and then shooting a base coat, clear coat. The top has got some little failing points here, so I may end up replacing that. We'll see. Alright, I don't know how much was in the earlier part of this video, but along with the car, I got a lot of spare parts. Plenty to complete this project, and plenty to move on. I've cataloged what's inside these boxes by photographs, and so I've got an understanding, like I said, of what's here, what I'll need. I've yet to go through this stack of boxes, and in addition to that, there are these totes filled with parts. I got plenty of manuals and books and Corsa tech guide stuff. Some good Corvair literature there. And I don't know if I documented it when I was also got a full 4x7 U-Haul trailer of parts and 5 windshields, but everything from that trip went to the Corvair Ranch. If I find that I'm lacking stuff, hopefully it was in that stash, and I'll work with Jeff at the Corvair Ranch to get what I need from him. The following photos are just an indication of the boxes and what was in them. And I know a lot of these are late model parts. A lot of these are non-turbo, non-Spyder parts. There's some forward control or truck van kind of parts here. So there's a lot that I'm not going to need, a lot that will eventually make its way to the Corvair Ranch. Obviously, if there's something on here you want to message me or leave something in the comments that you really need to have, I might be willing to part with it if it's not something that I'll need for this car.